you know, everyone's really great at making Star Wars.
Making Star Wars.
That guy's a cyber character. He's not real.
Everybody, I'm Jacen Ward and I'm late. And how's it going, Sketchcraft? Who's not indicted, not indicted? Oh wait, who is that? Stanza down there? A little Costanza down there below me.
Serenity now.
How's it going, Mr. Bulletin, Mr. Bespin, David Bestino?
See, you're very close to say my real name then, to be fair. So.
No, that wasn't even
yes,
close.
You were. Yes, you were.
David Bestino is like David Faustino from Married with Children. See, right above.
Don't lie. His Bespin's last name is Toberloni. I know.
Toberloni? Bespin Toberloni?
Yeah. That's what I heard. Mr. Toberloni, Mr. Bespin Toberloni, Mr. Toberloni, Mr. Bespin Toberloni.
Yeah. So on BespinBulletin.com, there was an article today, and it goes a little bit like this.
I hate the design of this kid, by the way.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
It's dreadful, isn't it?
I mean,
those eyes are so suggestive.
I had to do this tweet
That's
after
the
I read
worst
the
3D
article.
model I've ever seen.
Whenever I see him, I see that fucking kid from fucking Jurassic Park. Like, that's what I see when I see that little fucker.
I can't see shows like Rebels because I'm too busy laughing. You know, the water fill up my eyes and it gets in the way. It gets everywhere.
So
it's an ugly child.
I'm watching like Full Metal Alchemist. I'm watching Gurren Lagann. I'm not watching this. I'm not watching this with the green eyebrows and the green eyes and that cherub. I'm not doing. Really, this is like reboot territory for me, man. This is not good.
Yeah.
God bless you if it doesn't bother you, but for a visual guy like me, I'm out. I'm checked out.
Yeah,
you know?
This bothers me. Like, I hate his design.
You know what it reminds me of,
I
Jacen?
really do.
Remember, you went to E3 when the Kinect came out, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Remember Milo? Remember
Milo.
Peter Molyneux? There was supposed to be this kid you were supposed to talk to through Kinect. It was going to be this kid you were going to have a relationship with a 12-year-old boy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But
this was a thing, guys.
Hey, but now he's legal and he's hot. What? No.
We cut to him and it's Carrot Top, right?
Yeah, right. He's all jacked. So what?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so the idea behind this character, Rob, in case you don't know, is that Freddie Prinze Jr. is a Jedi, and then he fucks a tentacle lady who's green, and then they have this kid. And then now they've done hybrids before, and the hybrids that they did in other places were good. And the hybrid that McCollum had was fucking fire, was it not, George?
Oh yeah. Rick Olay. That's what we're gonna call him. Rick Olay.
That's where they came up with it, Rick Olay.
Yeah. We were at El Torito's. I said Rick, and he was drunk and went Olay, and I was like, oh, that'll fit in the script, and I wrote it down.
They don't like George there because he just orders endless chips. He never actually orders an entree, and then he tips on the soda.
How did you know that was my move at El Torito's? Like, they have the best sauce. I just get the chips, right? And I
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a
Got
thing.
me through college.
Us poors, it's what we do. But yeah. So, anyways, this character though, Rob, is like in one shot in the like addendum to the series. You know, at the very end, it's like, oh, where are they now? And like there's this, and then you're like, oh, because the father dies, the Jedi dies, and so it's like Hera flying the spaceship, and then like it zooms over, pans over, and then there's this little shithead there, and like
See, I feared that Freddie Prinze Jr. won't get killed because he doesn't want to dilute the franchise.
oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's a thing. Freddie Prinze Jr. is going around. He's making up stuff about Star Wars
No.
Rogue One, about who directed scenes, and he's saying he doesn't want to dilute the brand. And you're like, what are you talking about, man? Come on, Freddie.
This was supposed to invoke Animal House. So we were gonna have Jacen Syndulla was killed in Vietnam by his own troops.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apocalypse. Syndulla.
Senator Binks. Yeah. I don't want to say it. We cut it. It wasn't good.
Yeah, the thing about it is like, you know, you can see some young people with like green hair, little punks, and you're like, oh, that kid looks cool, right? Like that guy's a cool guy, and he's doing the punk thing. But the problem with it is the fucking green eyebrows. That's
dude, man. It's the eyelashes, really, too. Look at his eyelashes. They're green too.
Yeah, a little green makeup on his eyes.
Like eyelashes.
Yeah, I am very cynical about this design.
I wonder if the kids who grew up with Bionicle are like, this is my shit now, Rob. I had Bionicle, but now it's this. Like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get it's one dude. It wasn't the whole point of the cartoon. You're all gonna vote Rob's being hyperbolic, but you have to understand, like, this shit comes across my desk, you know, and I'm like, I gotta put this on a shirt. I mean, kid's gonna get beat up for wearing this. Like,
Rob, you don't have a desk. Don't lie.
Like, maybe you could put this face. See, if you put this face on a green heather shirt, then you only see his face. You don't see the hair, and it looks even worse. Yeah. It's like, that was always my favorite to do. To really fuck with them. Put on the wrong color body shirt. Got purple eyes.
When you get down to it, like in you know, like how they changed the Inquisitor and stuff, this is like visually, this is one of the ones where I'm like, yeah, go ahead and, you know, just do what you got to do, you know, to make him.
I hope they keep his big old ears. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, yeah,
watch it. I got some of us ears.
You haven't got ears like that guy.
The hell I don't. I sit very carefully in front of the camera, so I'm not straight on. All right, that's like, you know.
I have the same ears, so I wear these headphones to hide them. But
move. My ears won't fit in the headphones though, Jason. That's the problem.
So Bespin Bulletin is going to Star Wars Celebration, so you could give him a coffee if you want. All right, here's the article from BespinBulletin.com. It's been 5 years since the fan favorite, and once again, he didn't spell it like an American, animated Star Wars series Star Wars Rebels aired its final episode on Disney XD. During the finale, the series revealed that Ahsoka, Tano, and Sabine Wren were setting off on a quest to find their long-lost friend, Ezra Bridger, who disappeared to an unknown location after transporting himself and the sinister Grand Admiral Thrawn through hyperspace with the assistance of a species named the Purrgil. They're space whales. The end of Rebels set up a future adventure for Tano and Wren, something that was followed up briefly in The Mandalorian second season. When Tano came face to face with a character named the Magistrate, demanding to know the location of Thrawn, because if Ahsoka can track down Thrawn, she's closer to finding her lost friend. Thanks to a report from Making Star Wars, we know the Magistrate is constructing a ship to venture out into the unknown galaxy to find the Grand Admiral, and that Ahsoka and Sabine will be heading to the same location to find Ezra Bridger. Fans of Rebels have hoped for a sequel series for some time, and it may seem by all accounts that the Ahsoka live-action series is the sequel successor they've been asking for. As mentioned earlier, the Rebels finale set up a new adventure for Ahsoka and Sabine, but in one of its final scenes, it introduced fans to a brand new character, a character fans have been hoping to see more of ever since the Rebels series finale introduced fans to Jacen Syndulla, the spin-off, the offspring, I said spin-off, the offspring of the Twilight Captain of the Ghost turned New Republic General Hera Syndulla and the Jedi human Kanan Jarrus, the latter of which sacrificed his life to save his friends. Since Jacen's reveal, fans have often asked and hoped to see more from the character, with some theorizing that the child could be Force sensitive due to his father's connection to the Force, and hoped he could learn the ways of the Jedi from Luke Skywalker. However,
First you gotta gouge his eyes out, right? Just like his old head. What?
Might be pretty in purple. Give him a chance. However, since his reveal in Rebels, there's been little to no stories told featuring the character. But if a new report is accurate, that could be about to change. So according to a new report from Promo Bricks, Jacen Syndulla is slated to feature in a Lego set based on the upcoming live-action Ahsoka series. The set itself features the Ghost, a ship piloted by his mother Hera, who's also present in the set, along with an astromech droid, Chopper, the Mon Calamari shipbuilder Quarry, and an unknown male character with dark skin. If this report is accurate, which I believe it is, then we'll be seeing a live-action Jacen Syndulla in the Ahsoka series, which I'm sure will delight fans. The inclusion of Jacen should not come as much of a surprise, as it was revealed in Ahsoka footage shown last year that at Star Wars Celebration that his mother, Hera, who we exclusively reported will be played by Maria Elizabeth Winstead, should feature in this series. And a recent report from Making Star Wars mentioned that the epilogue from Star Wars Rebels finale, in which Jacen will be introduced, will take place around the midway point of the Ahsoka series, with the first half focusing on the New Republic story of sorts, and the latter half following Ahsoka Tano and Sabine Wren in an unknown part of the galaxy in search of Ezra Bridger. Ahsoka is set to release later this year, with the series lead Rosario Dawson previously revealing that the series will likely release this fall. Ahsoka is expected to have a large presence at this year's Star Wars Celebration, which begins this Friday, with Ahsoka receiving a dedicated panel on Saturday. And an Ahsoka trailer is set to debut either Friday or Saturday, as we exclusively reported 2 months ago. So, and then once again, you could give Bespin some walk around money at Star Wars Celebration if you want to. So, yeah, but there we go. So, Lego leakers
Thanks,
generally,
Bespin.
Yeah, good work, Lego
Thanks,
leakers
Bespin.
and Bespin. Yeah. What was the site called? I don't mean to like
Promo Bricks.
Promo Bricks. Go, good work, Promo Bricks. And I will say, like, over the course of all of this jazz, we haven't really had like Lego people fuck it up that I could remember.
Fire spray.
You know what I mean? No, I don't mean Lego doesn't fuck shit up. I mean like Lego people who put stuff online from Lego early. They usually like the stuff is usually like whatever they say it says it is. It usually is.
Do you think they're gonna paint the little green eyeliner on the Lego eyes? Like they'll put a little outline on them.
Well, this one, like, once again, it's like what we like. Is that eyeliner a part of the character in the show?
Oh, I hope so.
Because you know what I mean. It might not be. Yeah, but like I said, the eyebrows are the part that make me think like if I just like it's just like a green haired kid who's like a punk, and you're like, oh, the kid has green hair, and then like I said, but it's like, oh, it just turns out he doesn't have to dye it to look like he's in Green Day. You're like, okay, cool, whatever. It's Star Wars. But when you have like the green brows, man, that's the part where it's like, what? That's remember that guy? It reminds me of that guy from fucking Goodfellas. You know what I'm talking about? With like the fucking eyebrows that are like overly like dark, like they dyed them black.
Or when Ronald McDonald had like a Christmas Brothers green, or the during Shamrock Shake week or something, right?
Yeah, old Shamrock Shake. If
he's
chubby,
said,
we're gonna call him Shamrock
Astro
Shake.
McDroid for a second there. I was like, McDroids.
Astro McDonald.
The McDroid should have been a McDonald's tie-in for Star Wars. Get a McDroid instead of a McDroid. It's an Astro Yeah. But so Bespin, do you think?
I know we don't have. I don't think we have. You have anything on this, but just what do you think? Do you think that like this character is going to probably play a prominent role in an episode, or you think that this is going to be like the epilogue / prologue to this show, but the epilogue from Rebels playing in live action potentially? What do you think? Would they do that in a Lego set? I don't really pay that much attention.
Well, what's the Lego sets been for the Mandalorian? One of them was the pirate attack, right?
Right.
Another one is the Fang fighter. Is Bo-Katan in that set or something? And then there's one more. There's another one. But so they've taken, at least for the Mandalorian sets, they've taken specific moments, big moments from the Mandalorian season 3. So you'd imagine that this is at least a significant episode, or at least or sequence, at least early on in Ahsoka. So yeah, he probably will play a prominent role for at least one episode. I just hope his design is a bit toned down. Like Ezra has blue hair in the show, right? In the animated series, like it's very dark blue, but it's blue.
Yeah, it's
But
and that one you could chalk up to the style, right?
Right.
Maybe
So-
he's Salad the Hutt's kid secretly, like like it's a subplot.
Yeah.
So we assume that he's gonna have black hair in the show. So
yeah,
maybe they'll tone this down, so it's just not like light green. It's very, very dark. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like this isn't the character I necessarily needed to see again.
right.
I'm excited to see Hera. I'm excited to see the rest of the Rebels cast. But no, I'm not particularly excited for this. I also want he'll have to be the same age as he is here, right? Like he's gonna have to be. How old is he here? Like 5?
Matthew Lillard will play him.
Well, yeah, but we're only like what that part takes place around 5 years after Return of the Jedi in Rebels. What they
Only
originally
Matthew
said.
Lillard can play Freddie Prinze Jr.'s kid.
So we're only like 2 years out from this. So he's really only going to be like maybe even 2 years.
7.
It's a wonky timeline. It could be he could be anywhere between the same age and 8, I would say, within their the way that they explain time. I would think.
You
So
think they'll get one of those Stranger Things to be him? They get one of those.
Me and Bespin were talking yesterday, and
Fennegrad Wolfenheart, dude.
I like what Bespin said. He said this little fucker should have been in Skeleton Crew. I was like, yeah,
He should have been in the Skeleton Crew. Yeah, like at least some section of the fans would know who that is. When he shows up on screen in a trailer for that show or whatever. Again, like the 4 kids we've got in Skeleton Crew, none of them seem like they could be him. You've got a kid with like black curly hair, and there's 2 girl kids, and then the Max Rebo kid. You
don't think maybe the hybrid, like when he hits puberty, he turns into a Max Rebo, do you?
I would love for him to turn into Max Rebo, but like a green Max Rebo specifically. Yeah,
Max Greenbow.
Very good.
So Farm Boy says Jacen was born 1 year before A New Hope, so 5 years after Return of the Jedi, he'd be like 10. Is kind of like where he puts it, and that's the right age for Skeleton Crew, and but 10 years old is somewhere around there. So yeah, but I don't think I don't know for certain, right? I'm not sure, but I kind of wonder if we end up with like a point in the series where the women are going to go to find Ezra. They're going to go like, after follow the path of the witch, so to speak. I don't know if they stow away on that ship. I don't know if they take the Ghost. I don't know if they take Ahsoka's ship. But I'm
Well, if we look at
the
Lego leaks.
What's that?
The other Lego leaks, it's Ahsoka's Starfighter or whatever it's called, and that's her Sabine, the droid, and Inquisitor figure.
And that droid though is not something to overlook. That droid is that droid
is that his name?
Yeah, and he's the guy who Ahsoka used to take Jedi Padawan to younglings to become Padawans as they got their lightsabers for the first time. And this guy's Kanan Jarrus's kid. And so I could see like two scenarios where there is no connection. It just happenstance because Ahsoka went and got the droid. The droid was an important thing. He's up there in space waiting for people to come. Maybe at some point Ahsoka rescues him because he's important to the Jedi way, to the Jedi Order, to that knowledge. So maybe she saves him and takes him with her. Or maybe they are taking this kid to him to get the lightsaber. To like start his stuff, to start his like path. If he has like
his pod racing career.
Yeah, his pod racing career. But like his start building his lightsaber and start doing, maybe they're going to do it without a Jedi master, and maybe Ahsoka is going to somewhat aid him, but not taking on a master specifically. But that kind of doesn't
him off at Luke's school and get him killed by Kylo Ren.
But why it doesn't make sense to me, if that is the case, is that when they take Grogu to Luke Skywalker, or she won't train Grogu because he has an attachment to Din. And so she's sort of going by Jedi doctrine with how that shit works. And she's like, nope, I'm not training him, not me. And so I don't think she would train this kid, considering he's 10 years old living with his mom on a spaceship, right? She clearly is attached to his mom. So it would be the same or similar scenario. So rules would apply there, I would think. But yeah, I don't know what to make of that. Like, it's such a weird connection, to have all of those things.
Do you think Grogu will actually go to this new Beyond location, or do you think it's just going to be Sabine and Ahsoka?
That's what I was going to suggest a minute ago, is that the women are going out to go out there, and if I were Hera, I'd be like, you guys have a good time, because I'm not taking my 10-year-old to the fucking nowhere place, Yeah. So I could kind of see that being the, like, we'll be waiting for you, and if we don't see you again, we'll send out a we'll send a search party, maybe.
We'll mourn you,
Yeah. We'll think about you on Christmas, on Space Christmas. But like that's, I could kind of see it going that way. Like, I'm curious if they're all going to come together, like all of the classic rebels who were alive in this story, or if or maybe by the end they will. But I kind of think, like, when we saw Zeb in Rebels, and that, and he's serving as a pilot with the what are they called? Like a Delphi or something? I can't remember what they're called. Squadron. So he's like he joined back up with the Alliance, or with the Republic, and he's like a fighter now. And then we have Hera, who we know served in the whole thing, but what's she doing now? What's she like? Is she like, doing shipping stuff with her spaceship? I don't know. Like, what would her job be? But she also has a kid.
It was after like 5 years after like the Battle of Yavin. She was still a general in the New Republic. We know that.
From the game, from the VR game.
I think it's from the game, but it's also from something else. I can't remember the other thing is. I was reading about it earlier when I was trying to find out if there's any other information on this kid.
Okay.
Because, like, again, the only other story is that she was separated from him once. And that's the only story we have about this kid. And that was, again, 5 years after Yavin. So,
right.
She's still, that's why I put in there, like, with the first half of the season, you said it was going to take place mostly with the New Republic. So, I assume that's where we'll see this kid and our ghost crew for the most part. And then, obviously, the latter half of the season is, as you mentioned before, Sabine, Ezra, all in the unknown location, the New Beyond, or whatever it's called.
Right.
So I don't think we'll get like a ton with this kid. I do think it's a missed opportunity not having him in Skeleton Crew. So it would have been pretty cool if like Hera decided to go with them, and then like for some reason dropped him off under the care of like somebody on Navarro. Because the Mandalorian's on Navarro, and like Ahsoka be like, I know a guy who'd protect him.
Yeah.
Or something, and I don't know, then he gets trapped with the kids and Jude Law and whatever else happens to them. But I think there should have been ways to have included him. I think he would have fit well into that show based off of what we know of it. And it's easier to sell that show if you've got a Force-sensitive kid. Because people compared it to Stranger Things, right? Remember, like, that early on? I know it's like Amblin, wherever. but
Yeah.
they were calling it like Stranger Things in Space or whatever. If he
Lucasfilm
was,
also has hired a ton of Stranger Things people and Netflix people.
yeah,
So it's like, yeah.
yeah. So if there was a trailer or poster even, and it's him in smack bang in the middle, hand out, like using the Force,
Mhm.
like that works very well for the Stranger Things marketing, right? Because of the powers that Eleven has. And then
Yeah.
you just got like the fun friends around her. So that should have kind of been applied here. And again, like you said, a lot of Stranger Things people, Netflix people over at Lucasfilm these days. So they would have understood the appeal of that, you would have thought.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably not worth understating though the fact that it once again Kanan's son is on a ship with a robot who builds lightsabers. It's
Mhm.
only a matter of time.
Well, we
And
don't know
so
he's on that ship yet.
we don't know
That's
for certain.
well, Ahsoka has a set, which is her starfighter with Sabine. I think is his name Ho Yang. Is that his name?
Yeah, yeah.
And then
David
an
Tennant.
Inquisitor.
We'll just call him David Tennant. Yeah.
David Tennant, and then an Inquisitor that looks like a knight. So, and then this other set is the Ghost set, which is him, Hera, Chopper, an unknown male character, and Quarry, a Mon Calamari shipbuilder. So they're separate sets.
What is Quarry from?
Season 2 of Rebel.
So is there a chance that this Ahsoka set is really just a Rebel set from like the last bit of Rebels, and it serves because the Ghost is in it, but they don't have to give it away? Like, do you think maybe they're pulling something like that on us?
I don't think so. Like I said, that guy's in season 2, and there's also a character in there that nobody knows. So it seems like there might be a new character involved with the Ghost Lego set as well. I think it is from the show. I think it is like a new scene, new sequence, and it's got to be something of significance. I imagine, just based off of the Mandalorian Lego sets that's come out this year.
Yeah.
You know, like they're doing the Fang Fighter, doing the Pirate Attack. There is another one. I think there's another one with Bo. I'm not sure, but all of them have been significant. So, and they're all fairly early on, outside of the Fang Fighter. And the ones we know about this as well is also the ship you talked about with the Magistrate, and Balon and Shin. I don't know if there's any other characters. That's a one set. This one with Jacen's another, and then you've got the Ahsoka Starfighter set as well. So they are likely all from the first 4 episodes.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. I would imagine that's how it's going. We were talking last night when we were discussing this stuff, and man, it was a bummer conversation because we keeps it real. And we kind of were coming to the conclusion that they're not probably going to do shit with Thrawn and Ezra, and the fact that we have Balon and Shin in these Lego sets probably means that the trailers and such and promos are going to present them as the bad guys to be feared, and then because they're going to probably do the media rollout where it's like, oh, who are these new dark side Force users? They're really pulling the strings. And then as it goes on, it's like Thrawn, and the bigger fish is actually him, and that they're going to
drag it out, right, Jason?
Drag it out.
Right? You take 8 episodes before you introduce a villain right at the very end, and then you can say you did it, so it's there. You can shut up. You like it. It's good. I like it. Shut up.
Yeah,
I like it.
I'm afraid that that's I really fucking hope that's not what happened.
Because we were going back on it for like about an hour, right, or something, like discussing what we think the marketing with the trailer is going to be, showing a celebration, and I'm always the pessimist out of us two, which is shocking because you're not very like optimistic in general. So I was like, no, just look at all the marketing. All the marketing is generally pretty shit. Like you
know what happens though is, like, for instance, like Santa, Meg, they're very optimistic, right? So then my reactionary nature makes me become the pessimistic one who then tries to keep it real. But when
Jeez.
you come in keeping it very real, then I go, well, okay, let's see it from a different way. And then we
Like,
end
you
up
mean-
going down
You
that
mean
rabbit
my
hole.
way, right?
The Rob
Like,
way.
You just
Yeah, the Rob way.
Because
No.
let's be honest, Meg is optimistic on Santa's show, but then when she I know she's feeling down because she shows up on our show. And I'm like, oh yeah,
That's what
you
she's
thought
done in
about
it.
that episode.
She's like,
this
I'm
week.
feeling
You
down.
thought
I gotta
about-
go hang out with these guys. No.
It's like I rewatch Book of Boba Fett. Now I'm here to complain. Like, all right. Yeah, well, yeah, I took your hat.
You want to answer Arya's question?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he has a white beard.
Yeah, got a little Santa beard, little Santa beard. So not
You
the
think that
actual
kid grows-
Santa beard, but
You think that kid hits puberty a little early and he starts getting a green mustache, like a really cheesy Vince McMahon style mustache?
he goes like a fucking goatee. It's like no, he grows a Kurtz pussy-eating beard when he's like 30 and it's green.
He
Like,
grows
oh,
the curse.
no, don't do it, dude. Yeah, the Amish.
He needs to have a mullet as well. I'd like to see him with a green mullet,
Yeah,
like a cow in the customization options yesterday.
Can Chris Spreezy go and see this Lego set somewhere? Is what he's asking.
No, I don't think they've put out
They
the
haven't put it
figures
out yet.
from it. No.
Yeah. Does he have long hair?
Down
Don't
there,
know.
Jason.
Yeah, we don't
down
know.
there.
I don't know. Like
Oh.
I've seen some of the Lego figures, but like they're missing pieces. Like I've seen Shin, and like she hasn't like got either a hairpiece or a helmet or whatever she's gonna wear on top. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Like the same thing with Balon. Like I haven't seen a helmet of him. I've just seen his face. So yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
haven't
it's like
seen Jacen.
it's like there could be a helmet that goes to that is missing from the set, so
Mhm.
to speak. Or that might be it. Like Shin might just have such short blonde hair, they just like don't even give her one. I mean, it's possible, right? And she could have a helmet, so that's why the face is what it is. It's
Yeah, and then again,
hard-
I'd imagine based off of the epilogue of Rebels, this is how he's gonna look. He's gonna have like hair similar in length to this. I don't see why they'd give him long hair. I don't understand. Like, I don't know. Like, if that's gonna be the midway point of the series, he's gonna look pretty close to this, right?
yeah. I would think
And
I would think
Can't
that
wait.
it would be it would be a natural extrapolation of this design in some way. But once again, when you look at all of the Rebels characters, sans Zeb, or all of the animation characters, like Count Dooku, it goes the other way, but he doesn't have a big square face. They changed the blue of Cad Bane. They made him more realistic. They
It's
switched
why
him down a
I
little,
think they'll.
Yeah,
That's why I think
this
they
is
will
a humanoid.
tone down his hair.
So,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they'll tone down his hair. I think it'll be more dark, but
He's gonna look
This is-
Vespa-like, right? He's the green Vespa because we got the red, the blue, the yellow, the black. He'll be the green Vespa.
I mean, hopefully, what they've done is they got a kid with like really cool black hair, and then they like kind of like tint it to the green, and
Yeah.
it's like it looks like kind of punk, but it like looks kind of like natural but neat. Like, and then so there's a
they
chance.
also got to
the
do his
kid-
eyebrows. You gotta tint
And
his
I'm hoping
eyebrows.
that they don't have to do the eyebrows because they're black.
Like Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, right? They did that.
Oh,
They
man.
did the black with the little green bits in there. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, he's all why so Sidious? Ha, sorry. Okay.
With those eyebrows. And he gets punched in the face.
Yeah.
The Max Rebo kid will bully him. You know.
But I would have to imagine, because Ahsoka has a ship, and she's already with Homegirl with Sabine and stuff like that for a lot of it. We
Mhm.
think. I'm wondering if it's going to be like, if like she needs their help, because this Inquisitor, that's the mindfuck.
Right. Yeah.
And initially, like if you guys read my article from a couple of days ago, I was like literally asking, did Balon used to be an Inquisitor? Like, is there any is there anything to that? And then there's this Inquisitor actually in the show, and I started like thinking about like what are some, like, they're almost like play scenarios for your toys at this point, because we're missing these pieces. And I'm like, so I was like, at first I was like, well, if you have 7 Star Destroyers and they get zip zapped away into another place, in those 7 Star Destroyers, there could have been an Inquisitor on one of Thrawn's Star Destroyers who's just like waiting to go fight somebody, and he's just on the Star Destroyer. But and then now he's in the show. But then that series, that set doesn't really say, we're going out to the Ezra Thrawn territory to me at this point, anyways. And then we have the droid building character, the droid who builds lightsabers on the other ship, right? Not on his ship, on the other ship. So we got those things separated. We have like a line between them. They haven't come together in terms of the arcs. So it's like
keep them separated.
Got to keep them separated, or that kid's going to become a Jedi on the show, and he'll just be like, "I'll solve it all." And so we end up with like a kind of like a weird thing where I'm like, because it's implying that an Inquisitor attacks them, right? Attacks Hera.
Yeah, it seems. No, not Hera. Ahsoka and Sabine.
Ahsoka and Sabine. So it's an Inquisitor and Ahsoka and Sabine.
And Hoyang.
And the lightsaber. Okay. So it's like, this is so fucking bizarre.
Yeah. And again, when I told you about the Inquisitor the other day, we questioned if it was an Inquisitor, and I was like, I've seen him. I've seen what he looks like. He looks like a knight. Like I sent you a picture of. Yeah. It's not it, but it kind of looks like it, but it has like more like slits where the eyes are supposed to be, and then apparently he does have an Inquisitor lightsaber. It's got the circle wherever, the circle hilt. So it seems by all accounts he's an Inquisitor. He may not be, but if you've given him that lightsaber, he's in like black armor. Chances are he is, right? He might not be.
Boy, I hope they're handled better.
I mean,
they did not.
But
they did not go over very well last time. Not saying they can't. Just I hope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is where if they don't, I mean, they came over the time before they came over Stellar. They came off Stellar in Fallen Order. It's great. It's fantastic. It looks great. Plays well.
It's technically animation still,
But it's very realistic looking. Like there's nothing that happens in that game that couldn't have been, in terms of that performance, that couldn't have been live action. And so that's why I'm like that's where I do see like the criticism of those characters in Kenobi, specifically.
Yeah, even like you've seen people redo the design of the Grand Inquisitor, and then you've got a character of the same species inside Fallen Order who looks like not Fallen Order, the Survivor. Yeah, who looks very accurate to the Rebels like iteration of them, and so they could have done a better job. But again, I like Obi-Wan. I know. I do too. Yeah. No, same. And
I'm sorry.
No, no. I enjoy it for what it's actually like attempting to do, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to say is, after I watched Kenobi a bunch, I was like, I'm not like a crazy Inquisitor fan. I'm like, I love the Inquisitors. Like, so I was just kind of like, whatever. It didn't really offend me because I don't give a shit about them that much. I'm just like, whatever, it's fun. But when I watched the Jedi Fallen Order like game cut as a movie, that's when I started to be like, oh man, this played better and they've been shot better and everything like that before. And it's not like Reva as a character is that's not what I'm like critiquing. I'm critiquing like the thing holistically, in the way that they were handled, that they were looked at and shot, and it could have been a lot better. And that's where I kind of
seem. I know this would seem sacrilege in Hollywood. I've said it before. I'm certain anyone of your sources right now is tuning the shows like, that fucking dude should shut up.
You should shut the fuck up.
It's not how it works.
It's not how it works.
But given that they're giving Pakistani journalists a whole opportunities in Star Wars to experiment, it's not and I'm not saying that as a slight. I'm saying that as they're literally giving people who don't have the experience to do something because they have creative talent. It's not a stretch to at least try to give some of these video game cats, the writers, directors, art directors, a chance at a series, right? Like
oh yeah, that's
Fallen Order and Survivor. You know what I mean? Like the animation studios have put together the visual effects and stuff. I just try something. I don't know, like people who wrote that material, who actually I don't know, because those game scripts are so. Those things are like the King James Bible, bro. Like for any game, they're fucking crazy. So you really come to know characters when you're writing stuff, like for games. at that level.
Like I was telling you the other day, though, I watched all of Chinoy's, Obey Chinoy's like document, not all of them, but a bunch of them. And she can do some establishing shots. She can tell a narrative. She could put it all
I'm not
together.
knocking
Complicate.
her
No.
ability.
What I'm saying is, I actually kind of have more confidence in her than some people that I've seen make movies before.
But before her announcement,
Yeah,
a typical,
before his
like,
announcement, I was
let's
like,
say
what?
Snyder, right? A typical person in LA, if I said, hey,
Mhm.
this documentarian should be given Star Wars, they'd look at me like I'm fucking crazy. In the same way that, you know, a producer would look at me like I'm nuts when I mentioned the video game people working on it on some level, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
But
for
given-
sure. But
I don't
also,
think
I
that's such a-
remember Snyder saying like her number one thing is that she's like a
Pakistani.
journalist on Google. No, not Pakistani. A journalist is what it says on Google. So it's like that's not what you want for like your new Star Wars director, you know, because like he's kind of like implying like you want like a rock star. I kind of think though, like as I was thinking about that, I was like, I get what he's saying. I don't necessarily disagree with that from a I want to make a splash like PR perspective, but when you look at it like in reality, more likely that she's not going to just walk away because, you know, like Netflix gave her a deal to make, you know, Battlestar Galactica or something. So it's like
an agent way of speaking, right? Like Hollywood agents, not CIA agents or agents of evil. Maybe. Who's the guy who runs Ari, the guy who runs the UFC company that Endeavor, right? They just bought the WWE.
Oh, okay.
Ari, what's his face? He was
Oh,
like one of the biggest...
are you trying to say that Dana White is the real Inquisitor?
No,
Sorry.
no. There's a guy who runs all that named Ari. He used to be one of the biggest agents in Hollywood. Like to this day, he still has a lot of
Ari
pull and
Gold?
sway and shit. Huh?
Ari Gold? No, nobody gets that
No, it's the
reference.
dude who runs Endeavor, dude.
Oh
So,
well, there was the show Entourage. Ari Gold was like the best.
yeah,
agent in Hollywood.
any guy on he's named after Ari, the real Ari,
Right.
Ari Emmanuel. Yeah. So anytime you see an agent named Ari in a TV series, that's based off Ari Emmanuel. So
I had lunch with Umberto Gonzalez at Comic-Con one time, so I've lived Entourage. I don't need to watch it.
he would take that as a compliment.
I know, he loves the show. That's why I said it.
I love him. Man, Umberto was there for me. I'm never gonna hear me complain about Umberto. So
I'm not complaining about it. I like him.
but that is part of Hollywood. That's part of Hollywood. The power lunches, the power brokers, Dwayne Johnson kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we are moving into a world where Unreal Engine 5 is less a game engine and more of a real-time movie studio. Like that's the thing they're not telling you when they show you all these photorealistic assets.
Okay,
that can be built.
what Rob is saying is video games and movies be fucking. That's what you're saying.
The Mandalorian's as us looking in the first time. We're cucking it, right? Like, and you're like, it's not as good as I imagined it. It could
Are
be
you
better.
saying Unreal just cucked Star Wars? Is that what you mean?
yeah. It took away the compositing and green screen, and it's cucking us right now with visual effect. I never thought I was gonna make that thing. You know, all the weird shit that's gone down today, that was not on my list, Jason. Okay. Santa just spit up his nog. So like I need to make that graphic. I need the Santa spitting up his nog graphic. But I do think, look, man, the story's being told in Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. I can make all the Zelda jokes I want because I will. I enjoyed it. But the stories, they're as serious as like, they're not the MCU DC films kind of stories where something serious happens and then they're cracking two jokes to make you like forget that some serious shit. Like in the way Avatar had some serious shit, they weren't making jokes inside the fucking whale's brain when they were drilling into it, you know? Like, oh God, and then they vomit or some goofy, stupid shit like that. Like, and look, I know everyone likes the Blue Beetle trailer. I love that actor, but there's a scene in that trailer where he gets the Blue Beetle like thing, and he's on the wall transforming into this Guyver-like thing, and he's clearly in pain. But then all of his family's doing this community Donald Glover like improv. Oh my god! Ah! Like you're like, is that three different scenes composited together? And that's the kind of thing I'm saying. You don't see that in the games, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not like for whatever reason. I don't know how those decisions get made, but it's unfortunate because you're like, man, you got a moment that you could feel like, oh shit, that's fucked up. And then they're goofing on it. Like if in Imagine in District 9 when he turns into the Fly, he's like everyone's making goofy improv jokes. You wouldn't remember it wouldn't play the same.
No, if I were Lucasfilm and you know you do your safe ones, you know your series for Disney Plus that are safe, your fan servicey safe things. And when you're doing that, like if I were them, I'd be looking at the fact that they have right now 2 games that are probably telling a very good story. And the first game tells a very good story. And The Last of Us, that game didn't fuck up that HBO show at all. The fact that it was a game, I would
Also,
probably...
Neildruckman did direct episodes of The Last of Us as well.
There we go.
The actual game director.
Yeah. So like I would bring those people in and I would have them do a Fallen Order, fucking a safe 3-season show with 1 season per game story, and just fucking like take the easy win and make people happy, because I would appreciate
Jacen.
it. Yeah,
that's all I've been saying for a number of years. Lucasfilm needs some easy wins, and it does make it more difficult for themselves sometimes. You know?
Yeah.
I don't want them to adapt Fallen Order into a TV series or into a movie.
No,
I would just rather take the creatives that are over there and have them work on a brand new project.
Yes.
Yeah, you always see these people who kind of talk down on video games and are always saying, "Oh, this deserves to be a movie. This deserves to be a show."
Yeah.
There's many creators on YouTube that do it, and it's I just don't think they respect the art form of video games. It genuinely annoys me when. Yeah.
Let me address this comment. Martin says, no, Neildruckman's a woke bad producer. I've personally worked with Neildruckman, right? Before Last of Us, before he was any of that stuff, when he was someone you didn't know at Naughty Dog, and he's not. You're full of shit, Martin. Sorry. You can stop that nonsense now.
Yeah. Yeah. I personally, like I was saying earlier, enjoyed watching the Fallen Order cut, the movie cut of it, you know? And if I only had one critique of it, it was just the editing. Not the person who made the video did a great job, but the fact that, they're working with the game to make it. And if it was really set up, if they could convert that and use Unreal, or just take it and just fucking upscale it and do everything that's fucking fantastic.
That's what I was trying to tell you. And I've told you and you've agreed with it, but I'm going to reiterate here is very quickly, the assets they make for these games are going to be able to be used in a series. So you could very easily be taking those assets that you're sharing. What's
Amazon's
sharing the production cost. So what's brilliant about this is you're sharing the production cost. So if you're like, hey, we got a $300 million video game we're going to make, right? And we can also amortize the cost of that over and use those same assets into live action production. And if we're casting the role for that game, the way they cast Sam Witwer to visual, you know what I mean? Witwer was cast because he also looked like they wanted Starkiller to look like Sam Witwer. So whoever they cast in a new series, they can cast the same visual actors, if they want to. And then that makes a game series that's tied into, but not an adaptation, tied into a live action series way more feasible, right?
Well, on that logic, they really should have used the Fortress Inquisitorius, this in Fallen Order in the ObiWan Kenobi series, because in Kenobi, it looked like the design of it in Fallen Order is fantastic. I think anyway, and it lost a lot of its appeal, at least to me, in the Kenobi series, because we've seen it done so much better.
Right. Martin says, well, you just have to check the reviews of The Last of Us Part 2. Everyone hates it. Hey, man, I've checked out the reviews for the prequels. Everyone hates those too, right? So
but the reviews right? for The Last of Us Part 2.
Negative reviews for the prequels. The prequels, George Lucas arred their childhoods. Remember that bullshit?
Yeah.
The
reviews for the actual...
You can live in a confirmation bubble. Yeah. I don't mean to cut you off, but Martin, you can live in a confirmation bubble if you want. All right. Yeah.
The reviews for Last of Us 2 are extremely positive, from critics. It's just audience score that's divided. Just like The Last Jedi again. So I remember telling friends months and months and months before that game came out. I was like, it's going to be The Last Jedi video games. That's how I felt about it. And that's kind of what it became. And I love Last of Us Part 2.
Well, the same people that were trying to burn down my house over The Last Jedi, I saw them all leave me alone and go fuck with that game.
Yeah,
in 2017. So
same people.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Remember when Tim Schafer brought out an actual sock puppet to the Game Awards just to make it? Yeah, that was the best. I love that.
Carlos says, "Greetings from Spain, Jason. Land the biggest hug for all." Hey, dude, go out there, Carlos, and get some Andor picks. Come on, man, you can do it. It's right in your backyard.
We have for real, man. Like you're right out
For
there.
real, man.
Yeah. We got
go to Valencia. You know,
not California, Spain. Valencia, California. Stay away from it. It's not.
Oh,
it's not worth it.
Oh yeah, it's all right. Mike Porter woke this morning, but yeah, I mean, anyways, yeah. I to go back to what you're kind of saying. Yeah, like, with like assets being made in that game, probably being what they would use to some extent in a CGI version, or when CGI was applicable, like that kind of stuff is just like I love it if I could watch Fallen Order as even if it was an animated Unreal Engine film, because I like the game, but honestly, like sometimes I want to watch that story, but I don't want to go push fucking boulders around in a cave for like fucking 2 hours to get to the next story part. And but it's like as like a 3-hour story, it's good, and I actually enjoy it more than some of the television shows we've had.
I mean, there could very easily be a situation where they do figure out a Knights of the Old Republic series, but all of the props, the digital assets that are built for a game also go to the live action series, and then you have a new game series and you have a new live action series that are telling two separate stories, you know, with the same assets and a lot of the same actors. You know what I mean? A lot of the same actors. Could be
that would be nice, because then there would just be like, yeah, like that looks like it should look, you know. And
it would be one of those. It'd be one of those fucking, what do they call, mic drop moments? Because what Star Wars used to do was throw down the gauntlet. Like, look at this shit we did, you know? And there hasn't been a lot of that from Star Wars in a long time. Well,
because we haven't had a film since 2019, you know?
Yeah, but even the visual effect for the films haven't won the Oscars. But to do some big project like that,
they're never going to win Oscar.
Their biggest influence.
Star Wars is never going to win an Oscar because it's like the fucking epitome of summer. Like if fucking Jaws would never win an Oscar, even if Jaws came out today, just knowing what Jaws is, they wouldn't do it. I don't think.
Avatar won, so if Star Wars can win, if Avatar wins,
yeah, but Avatar is doesn't mean the same thing.
If they decide to throw a gauntlet down, which is what I believe they need to do, need if they're not going to make one every year like the MCU, then they need to throw the big gauntlet down on the movies.
I think it's fucking bullshit that The Matrix won over Phantom Menace for that bullshit fucking lame ass fucking effect that does not even hold up today compared to the work.
I would agree
to the innovation.
It deserved a nomination, but it did not deserve to win the visual effects that year. Yeah.
I mean, like
Look,
yeah,
the Matrix
Phantom Menace was innovative. No love because it's Star Wars. But I'm with you, Rob. The television series aren't fucking pushing the boundaries for the most part at all. Like in that, like Stagecraft is amazing. That's a way it furthered filmmaking, the possibilities, using an old technique in a new way. But at the same time, it's not like, you know.
But
it's
here's what Hollywood learns wrong lessons, folks. Okay, like I've been in this game long enough to know that when something cool comes along, Hollywood finds a way to fucking learn the wrong lesson. As with any great bureaucracy, unfortunately. So like Stagecraft comes out, we're like, wow, look, they figured out a way to solve the blue screen problem, so people can visually see the effects on screen. You get the lighting, and you can do this like on a budget. But then Hollywood goes, no, we can hand this over to the Marvel guys, and they can use this to make big budget movies on a cheap, faster, right? So we can cut our visual effects down by half. And now everyone in film, not just on TV, is walking around in a fucking volume room, and you're like, this all, and you're looking at it on a giant screen, right? So you're like, this shit looks so cheap, man. Like, it's like,
okay,
it looks almost worse than the blue screen. Like,
full disclosure, I was going to have to build the Married with Children set for Rob today, but the show couldn't afford it. So Rob is actually on the volume right now. So I feel like a hypocrite saying anything bad about it.
Jason, don't lie. Just tell everyone I'm in Santa's living room right now in Ohio. Like, this is actually where Santa lives. That's how I got Meg's hat. She left it here. I took it.
Yeah.
But look, you can do Jaws the way. Look, I was going to say the Matrix is very similar to the way Maverick got a visual effects thing, in that it's a bunch of visual effects where you're not seeing a lot of them. There's so many digital sets in the first Matrix film that you can't tell. Like when Trinity's in that room with the phone, a lot of those backdrops are totally digital rooms, you know, like they were or digital extensions and stuff. So, but it's all shot in the dark, and so they shot in a way that you can't tell. So yeah, that big effect got them, but there was a lot of little ones that people weren't realizing were with the way they were using doubles, the way they were taking the cities and compositing multiple parts of Australia together to create fictional cities.
I don't know, like, unless they make those really impressive like visual effects reels. I don't think that like the Academy recognizes visual effects that they can't see.
They used to when we had Cinefex, Jacen. The Academy, because the visual effects people are nominating. It's not the Academy isn't. It's not the Jedi Council, right? There's not 3 people sitting in the room deciding all the awards. It's of your peers.
No, that's what I'm saying is like
where they are seeing these.
Yeah,
where they are seeing these is at Hugo's Desk covered it out in New Zealand. They would have those big. They've had like Weta gave a giant presentation on the way they use the volume and then recomposited the volume effects in the Batman. None of that footage is available to us as a consumer. We are not allowed to see it. They're not allowed to share it because there's proprietary software in those demonstrations. But they see it. That's what SeaGraph and stuff was there for. They would go and do those kinds of presentations because they also share a lot of the technology. Like on Avatar 2, all the technology they built for refracting water, right, and creating water light and the way water refracts and all this stuff, right, they made open source. They brought it out they made it completely open to the visual effects community, and as well as compositing. They came up with a whole crazy compositing trick to deal with, because light changes when you're underwater as opposed to outside of water, and those systems have to change on a dime. And so they had to create all these like things that, man, Hugo's Desk covers this. Go watch Hugo's Desk on YouTube. Their Avatar stuff you want to see, because that guy's a professional compositor, so he gets into the technical aspects. But what I'm just trying to say is, I think the Matrix deserved a nomination the way the Maverick deserved a nomination. A lot of things you can't tell, but the winner should be the spectacle. And Star Wars, if their movies should be we're throwing the gauntlet down. And you can still have puppets, but you just gotta do something. And I do think if they were like, we're shooting a 2-film series that's also a TV thing and a video game, because we're amortizing those props across Unreal, right? And a lot of those assets can be reused. And if they threw something big down, dude, like, that's all I'm asking. Like, make Star Wars fucking. I don't want to say that. I'm not gonna do that.
Make Star Wars great again.
I don't want to do it, man. That's how racism gets you, right? You guys say it enough; it's in the back of our fucking brains.
This is
you
why
got to teach CRT. That's why you got to teach CRT.
This is why
it's in the system.
You are indicted.
I mean,
when you said proprietary, I remembered a few years ago, a Japanese airline was launching a BB-8 jet, and they're like, "Will you come out and cover it? And you could come on the plane, and we'll give you some peanuts and champagne." And I was like, "Fuck, sure." So I go down there, and BB-8's there, the real BB-8 from episode 8, 7 and 8.
Oh.
And I'm like, wow. So I'm like how like BB-8 has like that eye. I'm like getting pictures like in the eye hole and shit. I'm like, because it's like right there. He's just like with me. I'm just like with the real BB-8. Well, nice. the performer, the guy, I think you're probably about to go pay for his autograph at Celebration.
BMO. It's the BMO guy.
I took a picture of the remote, and they freaked out.
They freaked out, huh?
So they made me delete it. So then I deleted it, and then I just removed it from the trash and put it back in my phone. I never put it out. I never put it out because I'm like, I wanted to see it. But that's why I took a picture.
As much as when people say things like, "Oh, I would just wish visual effects would get good," people don't understand that this is the problem when you have 12 vendors on a film. Like on Avatar, they had a problem where they had all these Weta had figured out all these fire effects, right?
Right.
But the big end sequence in Avatar when the Quaritch jumps out the ship with the mech thing and the ship crashes behind him and explodes, that was handed off to ILM, and Weta could not share the fire techniques that they had come up with ILM because it's all proprietary. Like there's trademarks and all sorts of shit on that. So like they had to look at the footage and then reverse engineer and match all that fire up, and that's just it's like you're trying to get the shots done, but now you have to go invent technology you have to invent the tools to get to that, right? So all these are super challenges that have to be met, and time is not your friend, ever.
For people going to Celebration, Carlos tells us La Fosa del Rencor will be on Friday the 7th at 12:30 doing a panel at Celebration. Everybody who comes gets a gift. His promise, not mine. But yeah. So go and if you guys are going to Celebration on Friday the 7th at 12:30. You're not doing anything, you don't already have like a thing lined up, go and watch their podcast. Sounds cool. He says the first podcast in Spanish on a celebration, we will talk about the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. Nice. That's cool. So yeah, check it out, guys. Hopefully by the next celebration, I'll learn Spanish. Me and Penny have been trying to learn Spanish. We got an app and everything. But
my advice? If you really want to learn,
watch cartoons,
get Sesame Street. There's Spanish Sesame Street. Like, seriously, that's the only way I was learning when I was a kid. And the minute I stopped watching it, I just deleted it. But that was Sesame Street was the best because they focus on so many like individual bits, that all tie together. I don't want to get into it. But,
yeah. But anyways, that's an ex-girlfriend of mine from Mexico. She told me, she's like, just keep watching cartoons in Spanish. Like, that's the best way. And then start watching after you start to really be able to comprehend it. Then start watching films after that it'll help. And then she said, like, that's how her family learned English when they came over here was by watching cartoons. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense, because it's sort of like very simple, basic.
Not our woke cartoons. Everyone's got green eyebrows and shit, like
the green
back, Jason.
You know what it is it's OAC's green agenda or whatever her name is. What do they call it?
I like how the leader of the fascist party has green in her name. It's just, there's an irony to it, right, Jason?
Look at this green party agenda getting pushed in my Star Wars. Yeah. Martin says YouTube is the best way to learn. That's probably really true too. Yeah, especially for like how people actually speak to some extent.
Yeah, but Martin, the algorithm is just sending you to Neildruckman woke videos. Like, you're not careful with that algorithm, Martin. It's a double-edged sword. Is all I'm saying.
It turns out when I speak Spanish, I'm very far right, but when I speak English, I'm very far left. I don't know why, but yeah. All right, well, guys, I think we did it, right? I think we kind of hit on the day's news. Tonight, I'm going to see Mario, so I'm gonna have to pick up the kids from school. We're gonna go and get our secret snacks, sneak them in because I just got bills. Mm-hmm.
My screening's tomorrow night. My buddy was like, I heard the story. I'm like, it's fucking Mario, man. Like, all I want from this movie, right? Here's my expectations going into Mario. Mm-hmm. I want it to just feel like we're watching a 3D version of the Unreal Engine 5 Mario game we're not going to get for another 50 fucking years because Nintendo moves on technology. Like, I just want to see Mario at the highest graphical fidelity ever because we're never getting that in games. Like, we're going to be stuck with the fucking Switch for another 20 years. Like,
oh yeah. Carlos says my girlfriend spoke English or spoke Spanish better than me. She also spoke English better than me. So whatever that means.
Can confirm.
What do you call it? Yeah. For me, like with Mario, I mean, it's like it's just a movie I wanted since I was like probably 7 or 8 years old when I was looking at the manual to the original Mario game and getting Nintendo Power and stuff and like looking at like the cartoons. I was like, why isn't this a good cartoon? And then when the cartoon did come out, I was like, yeah, it's cool because I knew what it was. So I didn't expect there to be very much. And it came out like every day. And I was just like, yeah, cool. But like, if they actually like make like a Mario movie and it's just like, if it's just fun, that's all I fucking need right here. If it was like Legend of Zelda, I would actually say Legend of Zelda would need to like actually have a good script probably. But if it's Mario and it's just kinetic and fun and it moves, then and it's better than a DreamWorks movie, I'll be happy. Like that's kind of what
I'm fine if it's as good as the first Minions movie, which I actually really enjoyed.
My kids enjoyed them, but it pisses me off when I show them a really good song and they're like, "That's a Minions song," and I'm like, "No, it's not." You know,
But here's how I am with this movie. Just it could just be all levels from games we've seen before recreated in stunning CGI, like super visual effects. I just want to fucking see Mario the way we're never getting a great looking game. You know, we're gonna be stuck with varying degrees of GameCube quality with Nintendo from here on out. Like no,
Okay,
is there
Rob.
any difference between the GameCube and the Switch? There's nothing.
In one dimension, this movie comes out with the high quality graphics, and then Nintendo decides everybody loves that. We gotta sell an expensive console that can do that, and then because everybody wants it to look like the movie. I hope we're in that dimension, but we're probably not.
I had my buddy go, the lighting's better on the Switch. I'm like, it's GameCube with bloom. Like, just that's it. Like they figured out bloom. It's not. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not that big a difference. That's why when they put on Wind Waker on the Wii U, you're like, look, looks great. Yeah, it looks the same with bloom. Like it's it's not bad, but just. By the way, the Zeb CGI was fucking great. Like that's the highlight of season 3 Mando for me. I don't even watch Rebels.
Poser. Carlos says we will see Barriss. Will we see Barriss in Ahsoka? What is certain that after the cost of Zeb CGI we will see in Ahsoka for sure? So I would say number one, I haven't actually had any anything on Barriss at all. You Bespin, you heard any any kind of possibilities? Because I got nothing on that. And then my take right now is I never had anything on Zeb in the Ahsoka series either. Just full disclosure, I didn't. But I'm thinking that if he does show up, he probably shows up in those first 4 episodes. But I kind of wonder if at the end of the series, when the shit's really going down, if that's where we see it all kind of come together and because the Rebels family being reunited, so to speak, in the first part wouldn't have the same payoff as it would in the last part. So I'm kind of wondering if that's kind of something I was wondering is when do all of the Star Wars Rebels characters come together on screen? Will they, Dave Filoni, somebody who's very well aware of the people that are why weren't Luke, Han, Leia, Lando, and Chewbacca and R2 and 3PO all in the same place together? It's such a mistake. And
yeah, it was. I agree.
Because it looked like a fucking rest home. That's why. But in this instance, in this instance, it makes sense that they would do it, and everybody's still really young. Everybody's probably better looking than they were in the cartoon. Strangely,
gotta be better looking, that kid.
And no, not him. He's a little
also
fucking weirdo. A little green.
Not for nothing. The cost of the CGI isn't the issue as much as it is time to composite all the shots. I mean, that Zeb shot works good, not because gave him more pixels. It's because they composited that character into the lighting of that room flawlessly. Yeah. It's excellent. And that is that just takes time, man. You got to iterate on that. You have to plan for it on set. You have to know all your shots in advance. They're prevised. Those shots have to come in, and then you have to start passes. Everything's done in a pass and then composited together. It's not just, you don't run the character and be like, it's done. And then you have to adjust too, right? Especially if there's reshoots, or if the director needs a different take, that affects the whole pipeline. So time is the problem when you have a full CGI character for a TV series, let alone a movie.
And that's the thing to remember about Zeb is he looks good today, but he might not look good tomorrow.
And again, the Mandalorian season 3 had the longest post-production of any Star Wars series. It had a year from when it supposedly wrapped, which is in March of last year. All the other series, instead of including the first 2 seasons of Mando, had less than a year to turn around. You look at Boba Fett had 6 months, and Obi-Wan had, was it 9 months Obi-Wan had, or 8?
Yeah.
Something short.
It was really short. Yeah, it was really, really short. It was 7 months, I think.
So it's also worth wondering the post-production on Ahsoka. That wrapped in November, comes out in say September. Is that enough time? Hopefully.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, in terms of if it's Zeb, it depends on how he would show up. Because if he just shows up for if he's in a starfighter helping them out, then I think that's sort of there's a big hack to that, right? That's not as complicated, I would imagine, in the overall process. And then you would have a scene, of him with them. And so it might not be, it might be possible that we could have it in the same quality, with that in that amount of turnover time too.
Not just Zeb, I was talking about the CGI in general.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to expect or what to expect from the CGI in these shows at this point. It's really strange because I'm guessing like some of it is farmed out of ILM to like other people or other like contractors and stuff, and I don't know if that's the difference in some of this, like because it's kind of all over the place. But overall, I do think it's good for TV, but I like it when it's film quality.
Yes and no. I think the problem though, right? If I look at everything from a higher like the Blue Beetle looking out at Earth, right, kind of thing, right? Looking at like a scope out a bit. These studios are all farming out their projects to all these little itty bitty studios, right? That bid on projects, unfortunately, usually to their own detriment and cost wise. Like you end up losing money sometimes, a lot of times. But the technology, the whatever tricks they use or techniques they use to create the stuff goes away with them too when they fold. So there's a lot of on productions, there's a lot of rebuilding of the same bullshit, of redoing the same work that was already figured out 2 seasons ago on something else because some other vendor got it. This was a problem ILM occurred on after The Force Awakens, where individual modelers kept rebuilding parts to build digital Death Stars with and shit. And so finally, rightfully so, the guy over at ILM, whoever's in charge, was like, no. They rebuilt all the pieces that were from model kits that ever existed and made a unified set that ILM artists could then use to build all the fucking spaceships from, right? So no one's reduplicating efforts. A lot of effort duplication. And I really think, man, look, no CEO is going to want to hear this, but I really think they should be investing in their own studios, that at least own the tech, even if those crews get scaled up or down, the techniques and the processes and the models and all the stuff they've built, they own and they keep and is there and everything else. Because when you see something in a Kenobi episode, I guarantee you, if something similar was in a Mando episode, it was rebuilt by someone else. Like it was a duplicated effort. And that's just unnecessary. There's other shit you could be doing with that time. No one wants to do it,
So you guys both know a lot about movies. You have an answer for Jonesy? He says, Nintendo owning the movie while Universal Pictures funding it. How much do Universal earn versus Nintendo if the movie turns out to be the next Avatar?
They're distributing. If they funded it, then they're going to get at least a 50-50 split, if not a 70-30 on the movie. But as everyone knows, even at the Avatar level, like, yeah, man, that's a nice paycheck, but really the merch is where they want to be. So Universal has that Nintendo world, so that I guarantee you that movie's a hit. Guess where they're taking all their kids? Not in Japan, in America, and all those baggies and goodies and all that merch that's selling at those Nintendo worlds. That's launching that Nintendo world right before the movie. Whoever pulled that one off needs to win an award for leadership, right? Like marketing genius. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine if Galaxy's Edge launched and then 3 months later you got The Force Awakens. How fucking huge that that could have been an $8 billion return when you count all the sales up,
Yeah. I mean, so and then there's also there's the distributor, there's that production studio, then there's Nintendo. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, for Nintendo are the ones who are set to win from the most from it, right? In the end, because of the merch is what you're saying, like, or
yeah. I mean, they're always getting a good cut. Nintendo gets a good deal on that,
Yeah.
I had to pitch to Nintendo once for one of those merch deals. That took a year.
I watched Tetris and Miyamoto was like, "This is cool. We'll take it." You should have done it like that.
Somebody plays him in the show, right? I saw a scene, a still from that's Yamauchi, the former president of Nintendo. And I'm looking next to him, I'm like, that is like the dapperest, like very kind to Miyamoto, right? Like that looks
Oh,
more
yeah.
like the guy who ran Iron Chef. Remember him? Like with
that Miyamoto fucks. Let's be honest. That Miyamoto fucks. Yeah.
he looked like Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat more than like a dapper actor. Miyamoto.
He's like, I'll
It's all
make.
ripped and
He's
shit.
all. I'm gonna create Donkey Kong after I'm done banging these babes. Like what? No, that's not Miyamoto. Come
Good.
on.
It's awesome. It'd be like getting Freddie Prinze Jr. to play me. I'd be like, "Oh, you're so kind," you know. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you should go get Napoleon Dynamite. Like,
All right, guys. We did it. We did it. I'm gonna go pick up the kids from school here in a minute. So we will tomorrow we'll be back on, me and Rob in the morning. And Bespin, you're always invited to talk about what happened in Star Wars: The Mandalorian.
that's tonight.
And that's tonight at midnight. It'll come out, and I'll be seeing Mario. My kid knew this, and I was like, man, I don't know if we should do midnight. He was like, come on, Dad. And after I bought it,
Get Star Wars and Mario movie in the same day.
yeah, he's like, I didn't tell you Mando was coming out. That way you would get the ticket still. And I was like, oh,
You imagine in '93 you got a Star Wars series and a Mario movie at the same time, and then you hated both of them. Like,
yeah. Can you imagine if your dad took you to like the Star Wars set a bunch of times and you forgot? That happens. They forgot a lot of it. Yeah. I got the videos. I'm like, look how happy you were. And he's like, cool.
Do you realize, Jacen, one day that kid's gonna yell at you, you don't do anything for me. And then I'm thinking, my dad, if he had taken me like within 1,000 miles of a Star Wars set, I would have been like greatest dad of all time, right?
It's gonna be, you never threw the football with me or something like that, because no, I don't.
Didn't Favreau like wave at you at some point or something?
Yeah, I got yeah. Well, Favreau, I got the picture of Favreau and Filoni staring us down, like, look at that fucking piece of shit.
I remember that.
And then like Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, the children come up, and then they're there, and they look at the kids, and then I wave, and then the kids wave, and then they just start waving back, and it's like, what are they gonna do at that point? You know, it was funny. I mean, they were.
Then they built
you off, and then the kids. Sorry.
So then they built a giant cage, so you could never see them again.
So we'd never see it again. Then another time we went there, and Mando was actually there that day. Somebody in the suit. I don't know which one it was, but I'm gonna say it was Pedro Pascal, because I'm just gonna say that. No, it probably wasn't though. But and he looks over, and then he sees us and the kids, and then the kids start waving because they see Mando, and then he waved back, and so that was cool. That actual Mandalorian waved, and said hi. So yeah, everybody said hi. They were gracious neighbors, I'd say.
Such a Curb moment. You imagine like on Curb, like some paparazzi dudes filming Larry, and Larry's out there, he gives him the bird, and then the paparazzi's kids walk into frame, and then someone gets a picture of Larry flipping off the kids, right? And that's the story. Like,
what's funny is one of the times that they sent over a production guy to like harass me out of there, thinking like I didn't know my goddamn American given rights. He started calling me a paparazzi. And I was just like, fucking, what is this? I'm like, what is this? Paris Hilton? I was like, what? Does fucking Dave Filoni have a designer dog in her purse? I'm just taking pictures from this parking structure because it's a beautiful day. But yeah, that's life.
You're wearing your Princess Di shirt that day?
No, I had a shirt on. I had a hat and it said Scoop. And they're like, oh no, he is paparazzi. Hey, it's me, Scoop.
That's why Umberto works out, man. No one's talking shit to Umberto when he's down there. Like,
I don't know, man. I think you get your shoes a little scuffed up trying to get the pictures from that place. But hey, you know what? We all do it our own way.
Maybe Buggy Man will just tell you straight up, like, you ain't built for this. You know? Like,
is that what he told you about the mountain?
Yeah, he told me I'm not built for it. You know.
They literally fat shamed you. They called me paparazzi, but they fat shamed you.
You ain't built for this, Costanza. like in Glorious Bastards when he's yelling out Shoshana, "You ain't built for this, Costanza."
Oh fuck. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyways, tonight's a new Mandalorian. It's the Bryce Dallas Howard episode. Bespin on his website, BespinBulletin.com, has some video of the episode that she directed, where you can see some interesting things and might give some insight into the episode if you want, like, if you can't wait and you want to see how it pans out. And I personally think it's fun to look at the video and then tonight, like, guess what's happening with what we think we know, and then tonight watch it and see how fucking wrong we are, if or right,
Until Bryce directs something you all hate, then she sucks, right? Like, just like remember Taika won an Oscar, now everyone hates him. Like,
well,
you go figure that one out,
Yeah, I honestly think that until Bryce does her own film or show runs her own show, it's kind of like I don't know what to I don't know what to expect. Just like you could use Deborah Chow as an example of that difference, right? I think.
Yeah, but I still think it was unfair to give her 6 episodes to be in charge of. Man, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the turnaround time on the show was probably too short, and they made a lot of production errors on that, down to the score. I mean, I think she did a good job, but we all know it could have been better if it was laid out in a different way. But under the working conditions,
before we go,
Holt did a good
quick
job
on that score. Did you see Natalie Holt was going to do the score to Batgirl? And she apparently was talking to Elfman about reutilizing the Batman score, the '89 score for that. And when they got canceled, she took a photo with Elfman when they were doing like frowny faces and shit.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holt's hot too, by the way, I think. Anyway, all right, we'll be back tomorrow talking about Mando. Everybody have what? She's hot. What do you want me to do? What, you say she's ugly? It's not appropriate. It's totally appropriate.
Yeah, you have to be woke.
She's good at her job and she's hot. That's fucking what? She's a rock star.
No.
I'm proud.
You
of
ain't
her.
built for her, Jason. No,
you know what?
You
who's not hot though? Danny Elfman would not fuck.
Me.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.